Hi everyone, this is Subbareddy. Today we are here to discuss about how to deploy Company Communicator version 3. Earlier we have version 1, 2 and the latest version is version 3. So I'm going to present the steps how we can deploy the Company Communicator version 3. So directly jumping to the topic. So this is my Azure portal. I should have access to Azure subscription as well as I should have access to Office 365 admin portal to add the appreciations. So for example, for my case, Azure subscription and Office 365 are both are two different tenants. So for example, if you see this it is outlook.com, right? This is my Azure subscription where I can create a resource group, Azure resources like Op service, Azure functions, everything I can deploy it into this tenant. And the other one is like Office 365 tenant. This is MS Teams piece Subba, right? So this is my Office 365 tenant. So here I can do the app registrations and remaining steps. And with the same Office 365 tenant, I actually log into the Teams to access M365 services. So in these steps, I am going to present it two different tenants. So first we need to go to Office 365 tenant where we have the Teams. So open portal.azure.com and click on app registrations. And in the app registrations, right, click on this new registration. Here we need to give the name for our application. So for example, I'm giving Company Communicator version 3. I'm giving the name as a Company Communicator version 3 for this application. And we need to select the second option, accounts in any organizational directory, any Azure ID directory, multi-tenant. Make sure you select this second option to make it working. So and then click on, you don't need to click any redirect URIs. So click on register. This actually creates app registration in your Azure Active Directory. So the creation is completed. So in the overview page, it redirects to the app registration overview page, and here you will see the application client ID and the directory tenant ID. So we need these values in the further steps. So I'm copying it to Notepad. We need to give these values in the further steps. That's the reason I'm copying these tenant ID values on also into Notepad. Okay. And the next step is to create the app secret for this registration. So navigate to certificates and secrets and click on new client secret. You can give any name here. And I'm choosing the option as never so that this secret will never expire, but you can change this one based on your policies in your organization. I'm clicking on add and the app registration is created here. App registration secret is created here. So once these steps are completed, right, now we need to go to app template documentation. For example, in this URL I give this link to in the video links. So if you go to this Company Communicator, let we need to go to this get it on GitHub. Let me copy this into Azure subscription. This is my Azure subscription tenant, right? So now I came to this other tenant where I have Azure subscription and I click on get it on GitHub so that I can navigate to deployment guide. Here I see deployment guide, and then the first step is already completed. App registration, secret creation, copying values to Notepad is completed. And now the next step is clicking on deploy to, the second step is deploy to Azure subscription. So I'm clicking on deploy to Azure. So it redirects to the custom deployment page where you need to give the details about what details like what are the parameters, base resource name, and where you want to create in which region. You also need to give the bot client ID. You need to pass these values. So before going to that, I will explain each field. So this is my free trial subscription. So I selected that. By default it is selected. And the resource group, I create new resource group. So for example, version 3 app version 3 company communicator app version 3. I'm giving the name as a CC app version 3 as my resource group name, and I'm keeping the region as a East US, but this can be changed based on your organization requirement. And base resource name, this is the name you need to consider for your organization. For example, there will be a one website also hosted with this name, and one Azure front door will be created with this name. So you need to make sure that name will be uniquely available in Azure. So for example, I'm selecting Suba CC app version 3. Super CC app version 3. We should not give any spaces for this one. It will not accept base resource name with the spaces and everything because it is a URL. So you can give your name as you per your preference. And bot client ID means the app registration which we did it and copied into Notepad, right? So the app application client ID, we need to copy those values here. And let me copy the secret as well. Client bot client secret. And the next one is like a sender UPN list. Who need to act in the company communicator application, right? There will be two personas. One is author who will draft messages and send messages to different people, and the other one will be the receivers. So you need to give the UPN list of the people who need to send or who need to act as an author. So for my case, I'm just selecting admin at msteams.on microsoft.com. I'm just keeping one. Otherwise, if you have multiple, you can just give semicolon and give another ID. This value can be changed further after deployment as well. Whatever the values you enter here, right? This actually saved into configuration, and you can even change in future if you want. So I'm keeping only one ID, sender UPN list. That is the author name. And next step is proactively install user app. So you will have two options here, true or false. So for example, if you want to send message to uh, bot messages to 10 people, and even if the bot is not installed for them, then application will be bot will be installed for them automatically using this application. Or if you don't want to do that, you can change status as false, but I prefer to give it as a true, so that application bot, right? Company communicator bot need to be installed for every user. That's the reason you can keep it as a true. And user app external ID, you don't need to worry about this one. You can keep the same value whatever is by default populated. And default culture, support cultures, custom domain option, I'm selecting Azure front door. And you also can choose the custom domain name option, but I don't have option to show it in this demo. That's the reason I'm selecting the Azure front door. And app display name, you can change it. Like for example, here I'm giving as a version 3, company communicator version 3. And the next main option you need to select is the tenant ID. So for example, if you are deploying application and Azure subscription and Office 365 both are in same tenant, then you don't need to change this one. But here in my case, Azure subscription is in one tenant and Office 365 is in different tenant. So I need to give the tenant ID here. So that's the reason I copied into the notepad. So I'm just giving that tenant ID value here. And even if it is in the same tenant, it's fine to uh, replace the value with this tenant ID value. That is the one thing. You can change plans based on your requirement. Otherwise, you can keep as is. Get repo URL, you need to keep as is. Get branch, master branch, you need to keep as is. So I'm clicking on next, review and create. It will validate the resources creation. So validation is passed and it is showing all the summary of the details, all the details, whatever we enter, right? So those details are displayed here. So I'm clicking on create to go ahead with the deployment of this ARM template. So we are in the second step. If you go to the deployment document, right? And guide. Here in the deployment step, first step is to register the Azure AD application. This is in the Office 365 tenant. First step, Office 365 tenant, we created app registration. Second step is to deploy to Azure subscription. So we created Azure resource. We are creating Azure resources using this ARM template that is on the Azure subscription. Second step, and all those details are entered here and explained in detail. And the third step will be the setup authentication. So again, the setuping authentication will be on Office 365 tenant. So before going ahead with this third step, right? Let's wait to finish this deployment. So once this deployment is completed, then we will start with the third step. So let's wait for some time. We will pause for some time here so that we don't need to wait on the video. Hi friends, I'm back. Around after 1 hour, it took around 1 hour to complete the deployment. So after 1 hour, it is showing me your deployment is completed and the option to go to the resource group. So here, if you go to the outputs, you see usually you will see the bot ID and app domain in the output section. So this is the app domain and this is the bot ID. App ID means whatever you are passing in the initial step, right? So that is the same thing. So we just need to copy the app domain value. Let me copy the app domain value here. And even though we don't see any these values on output section somehow because of some issue, you can go to the resource group. And in the Azure friend door, right? If you open this Azure friend door resource, you will actually see the particular URL. In the overview page, you will see the front end host URL. So this is Suba CC app with Azure FT.net, right? So this is the same thing which was showing as a app domain. So you need to give this value in other steps. So you need to copy that value here. And in case of anything conflict errors, if you see in the deployment process, then you don't need to worry much. Here, for example, if it is failed to conflict error in the app service deployment, then you can go to the app service and you need to navigate to the deployment center and see the status here in the deployment center. You see the status here in the status column. It should be shown success active message. If it is not success, here it is seeing, right, success active. If it is not showing success, then you can sync the latest code. Again, you can click on the sync so that the latest code from this git URL will be redeployed. Again, it might take some time to redeploy if it failed, but this is on a troubleshooting option to redeploy the code. So though resources created completed, the app deployment is main part is completed. Now the next part is let me go to the uh, setup authentication section. Third step we need to check. So we copied the bot ID and domain. So now we check the authentication part. So authentication part, we need to give the URL something like this. So for example, let me copy this value to my notepad. And in the app domain section, I replace this particular percentage app domain part here and copy this full sign in simple end URL. So let me go to app registration in Office 6 we created the app registration, right? So under the app registration, open that particular registration and click on authentication. In authentication, we actually need to add that value here. So click on add a platform, click on web, and enter the redirect URI which you copied, and select the ID tokens here and click on configure. So the redirect URI is copied here and ID tokens is selected here, and the first of while creating application you selected multi-tenant, right? So the same option is displaying here. Next step is to go to expose an API section. So under expose an API, you need to copy in this format. You need to copy the URL again like this. So let me copy it here. Replace percentage app domain with app domain value and copy that value. Under expose an API section, under application ID URI, click on set and replace this value with this API colon / and app domain. So save it. And we need to add the scope. So the scope to avoid spell mistake and everything, right? So I just copy the value from the deployment document, access as user, and you need to select as a admins and users. You can copy, you can give any description and title here. So, and I'm just copying it from here from the deployment document, copying the same content here. State by default enabled, so just keep the same and click on add scope. So the scope is added here. Now we need to click on add client application. You might ask what is this application, right? Client application. So you are accessing this particular company communicator app from Teams client, whether it could be from desktop or it could be from a web browser or mobiles, right? So for that purpose, you need to add that client application IDs. So for example, this is one of the client application which you need to copy. So it will be two. One is for the desktop and web sections, right? So you need to copy these two values. One is this one and one is this one. So let me copy the one first and select the authorized scope and click on add application, and copy the other value as well. Click on add client application, copy paste the value, select this authorized scope and click on add application. So expose an API section is also completed. Now the next step is to copy this optional claims. So in the same app registration, you go to manifest section here in the left navigation manifest section, and whatever the settings you copied in different areas, right? So those are also copied into this manifest. So check for optional claims null, which is the line number 44. So replace this line of code with the copied value and click on save. So I just copy pasted this optional claim part here from here to the app registration manifest and saved it. So now the next step is to add permissions to your app. So click on API permissions and click on add a permission. Click on Microsoft Graph. Click on delegated permissions. Search for group.read.all. So select this value and again search for app catalog.read.all. Select this option and click on add permissions. So those app catalog read all delegated permissions are saved. Make sure you selected the delegated for these two permissions. And again click on add permission, Microsoft Graph and application permissions. Group.read.all and search for user.read.all and check for Teams app installation dot read write for user dot all and select this option and click on add permissions. So all the application permissions, group dot read all, teams apps installation dot read at all, and user dot read all permissions is also added. So if you just refresh, you will see the same permissions here. And the next step is to grant admin consent. Here I'm the person logged in with the global admin access. So I have permissions to grant admin consent for this application for these permissions. But in your case, you might not able to see this option, or it will be you will be able to see it, but it might be disabled for you. So ask or take help from your admin, global admin, to grant this consent. They can open with this particular app registration from using portal.azure.com, and they can navigate to API permissions, and they can click on this grant admin consent for and the tenant name. So once you click on it, click on yes. So the consent was granted. So you see all green tick marks here for all these permissions. So this is for the permissions adding for your application. So your application should be able to read all the distribution list groups, right? M365 groups, and you should have permissions to install the app, and should have permissions to read the members from the group. So to get all the permissions, we need to add these permissions here. So once this is done, the configuration from M365 is done, and Azure portal is also done. So now the next step is to create the manifest Teams app packages. So you need to download the code. For example, if you go to the top area and if you go to code section, you can download whole solution as a zip file and you can unzip it. So I already downloaded that. So this is the I unzipped the folder, and this is the folder. You are able to see the source, manifest, deployment, everything. You will be able to see it here. So I need to open manifest file and click on others and manifest users, right? So for example, if I just open manifest underscore others, I need to update some values in these packages. So let me go to the section. You don't need to copy the change any ID here. In the developer section, majorly you need to update the values. So here it would be your company name. Maybe your company name you can enter here, and your website, your company website URL you need to give it here. Application will not validate uh, URL whether it is the correct one or not, but it will check only the format. And you need to give the privacy URLs. If you have some privacy details of this particular app or anything, right, you can give those details here. Otherwise you can just copy paste your uh, company URL. So that is the developer section details update. And the next section is name. So here by default the name is company communicator authors, and you can rename it if you want to, right? So for example, I am changing it to for my particular case, right? I'm just updating it to V3, but it seems the name is exceeding the number of characters 30. That is the reason we are not able to see not able to enter all the values, and it is showing warning message. So because of that, I will say C communicator app company communicator version 3. I'm just giving to differentiate it, but you can give company communicator in your organization. And full name I can give the whatever the format I need. So I'm just keeping this one. And the next one will be the app domain. So you need to replace this app domain value which was copied to notepad, right? Copy this azure web.net URL and paste it for the app domain. You need to paste it in 3 places. So replace this app domain and replace it here as well. Okay. And then copy the application client ID from notepad, and you need to replace it in the manifest file. So this is the bot ID, and here is also the bot ID. Replace that values. and your changes are done. Save these values and go to the folder and again open this manifest underscore users manifest file. So instead of typing everything, I'm just copying this developer section here and again company communicator. I will just keep as v3. I just adding as a v3 in the name. This is for the user, so the brackets under author's name is not required. For end users, they will be able to see only this particular name. And again, you need to copy the bot ID here, replace that bot ID section, and the app domain also you need to copy it from Notepad and replace under this valid domain section. So your configuration of this manifest underscore user dot JSON is also completed. Here there is a property called is notification only equal to false by default, but a company communicator is like a one-way communication, right? It's just receive the notification, but it's not required to uh, if the user asks some questions to this bot, it will not respond. So in your case, if you can set as it true, so that compose box will be disabled. So once I am done with these changes, I am closing it. But uh, to create the zip file out of this manifest, right? The manifest file name need to be renamed. It should be manifest only. It should not be manifest underscore. So I just renamed the file, selected color outline file, and out of 3 files, I am creating the zip folder. So and then again, I'm renaming it to underscore authors. Now I'm creating the manifest for a user's manifest file. So I'm renaming that manifest underscore users to manifest. Now again selecting color manifest outline files as a GIF folder. It doesn't matter what the file name you gave it here. So create the manifest here. So for the bot, company communicator bot, right? In Teams, if you want to see your customized icons, you can replace these icons with the same measurement, with the same. It is having some dimensions like 192 by 192 PNG file. So give with the file names, replace these file names with it should have the same name, and create the manifest out of it. So now the manifests are created for users and authors. Now I navigate to my Teams application. So here, if I go to Teams, or if I go to I will just upload for pilot users, right? To upload for pilot users, I will not upload that particular app to tenant. So for example, if here I'm creating one test team, joiner create team, I'm just creating one test team from scratch, private, and then company communicator authors team. It can be, if you want to use, you can use any already existing team. But here I'm just creating one test team to test the same thing. So the team is created. I can add users, and once users are added, right, you can close the pop-up. So the now the Teams channel is added. So we need to add app to this particular Teams channel. So click on plus and click on manage apps. Still loading. Yeah. So these are the apps actually which are by default installed for this particular team. And if you want to upload new app, you can upload this a custom app. So now I am selecting other section because the others app is targeted for team scope. So I select for authors app, and the app will be shown here. So whatever the name I gave, right, it will be shown here, and details about that by using communicator app, privacy policy, terms of use, whatever you gave in manifest, those will be displayed here as well. And click on add, so that this particular authors app added to this particular company communicator authors teams channel. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. So the company communicator version 3 authors app is added here. So you can go to the general channel and click on plus, search for app. So this is the app, right? So click on that app so that it will be shown option to add the particular application tab. So just wait to page loaded. So once the page loaded, click on save. So this is to add particular application tab into your Teams channel. So for example, in this Teams channel, by clicking on plus and searching for that name and adding, right? So the company communicator app tab is added now. So you can click on new message, you can draft message and you can send it. So in the same way, before that, before sending messages, right, you also need to upload app to users. So for that purpose, you need to go to apps under app, upload a custom app, upload for MS Teams Subha. This is a tenant name. So for your case, if you are the global admin, you will be able to see this upload for particular tenant name. So check with your tenant administrator to see this option and upload this particular app here. So here I am selecting authors app. So this particular app will be uploaded to your tenant, and you will be able to search for, users will be able to search for that app and will be able to install app. So for example, company communicator, let me search for that app now. I should be able to search for version 3. Give me a second. No, this is not my created app. Let me check whether it is uploaded or not. Or I can go to admin center and see whether that app is uploaded or not. So if you go to admin.teams.microsoft.com, if you go to Teams app, manage apps, we are not able to see that option, but still we can upload it here. Again, desktop, documentation, manifest and users. It's already in the catalog. Please use different name. It seems I already tried to upload with the same name. That's the reason I could not able to. But let me delete that from here because I earlier tried the same with the same name. So that could be the reason I'm not able to upload it. So now I deleted that, and let me try to upload again. Yeah. Now the latest app is uploaded with this company communicator app, and I can now uh, add to myself. So the bot is added now, company communicator version 3 app is added for myself. And so the deployment is completed now. uh, to make sure everything working, the you need to go to the Teams channel to see this tab, and once it is loading, it is working fine, and you are able to see the bot for users. So this is the steps for deploying the app. So if you see the same step in the deployment document, I just recap what we did as part of the deployment. So the first step is the register Azure ID application. Go to Office portal, create new app registration with multi-tenant option, create client secret, and capture these values into Notepad, and then navigate to Azure portal with where we have Azure subscription. Deploy to click on deploy to Azure, give the all the input fields for that, and wait to complete the deployment. And then third step is setup authentication. Come back to Office 365 Azure portal where you have created the Azure ID registration in the first step, and you need to update the authentication section and expose an API section, and client applications details you need to add, manifest file you need to update the details, and then go to permission section in the same Azure AD app registration, add these values, add these permissions to that application, and grant admin consent for that particular permissions. And then finally you need to create the Teams app packages. So you need to replace the particular values in the manifest and create the zip folder out of that. So now the next step is to install the apps in Microsoft Teams. So the same thing I showed from here, like under the apps, you can upload for tenant, and for particular Teams channel, you can upload author app. So now the deployment is completed. For the functionality part, what is expected to work, I created a separate video for that, and explained the details like what are the features available, and what you need to check out of this application, and some configurations also where you exactly need to check. So those details I explained in different video. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video.